I rented the cabin to get away from everything: the city, my job, my breakup. A little off-grid detox, surrounded by sand, silence, and sky. The Airbnb listing called it a rustic escape for creative souls. Translation: no cell service, no internet, no neighbors for miles. Exactly what I wanted. The place was in Arizona, right on the edge of a dry desert plain. You couldn't see another house from the porch, and at night, the sky spilled stars across the world like someone had sliced it open. Beautiful, in that eerie, dead quiet kind of way. The first 2 nights were peaceful. I journaled, read a paperback I'd brought, cooked on a tiny propane stove. But the third night, that's when the knocking started. It came just after midnight. Not loud. Just 3 soft knocks on the front window. Not the door, the window. And not the window by the bed, but the one by the kitchen sink. Tap. 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 I froze. Every horror movie I'd ever seen flooded my mind. But then I reasoned, maybe an animal. Or wind. Or the old wooden frame shifting. I grabbed a flashlight and tiptoed to the window. Nothing. Just sand, sagebrush, and moonlight. I chalked it up to nerves, went back to bed, and tried to sleep. The next night, it happened again. Exactly midnight. Tap. 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 Same window. But this time, I looked closer. And I saw something faint: smudge marks on the glass. Like fingerprints. Only, they were wrong. Too long. Too thin. Not quite human. I didn't sleep much that night. By the time the sun rose, I convinced myself I was just being paranoid. I mean, I came here wanting isolation. So why was I acting like every creak and whisper was something supernatural? But I couldn't shake it. When I got up the next morning, I checked the window again. The smudges were still there, faint but real. 5 thin streaks, like someone had gently pressed long fingers to the glass. I took a photo with my phone, though there was no service to send it anywhere. Then I checked the ground outside. No footprints. Just dry dirt, cracked and pale. Still, I wasn't ready to leave. Not yet. I'm stubborn, and I told myself that if I ran away now, I'd never forgive myself. So I stayed another night. And that night, something changed. The knocking came again: tap, 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 but it wasn't just the kitchen window this time. It circled the house. First the kitchen. Then the bedroom. Then the back door. Always 3 knocks. Always soft. Always spaced exactly 10 seconds apart. I sat in the dark, holding a kitchen knife like that would do anything. The flashlight flickered and died. The cabin didn't have a generator, just a few solar lights that went dim by midnight. The dark out there wasn't like city dark. It was full, choking, like it had weight. And then I heard breathing. Right outside the bedroom window. Shaky. Raspy. Slow. I didn't look. I couldn't. When the sun finally came up, I packed my stuff. I was ready to go. But as I locked up, I saw something that made my blood run cold. Carved into the wood of the front door like it had been done with a knife were 5 letters. Stay. Just that. Nothing else. Nothing on the porch. Nothing around the house. No signs of anyone driving up or walking over. I should have left right then. But my curiosity got the better of me. I drove into the nearest town about 40 minutes away and asked around at a diner about the cabin. The waitress, an older woman with leathery skin and kind eyes, froze when I showed her a photo of the place. "You staying up there?" she asked slowly. "I was," I said. She leaned in. "That place used to belong to a man named Dalton Reese. Lived there alone for years. People say he lost his mind. Kept talking about something that followed him from the desert. Said it knocked on his windows every night. Then, about 7 years ago, he vanished. Left dinner on the table. Never came back. I asked if they ever found his body. She shook her head. Not a trace. But the next guy who bought the place, same story. Heard knocking. Went missing too. That's why it's a rental now. No one stays long." My hands were shaking as I paid and left. Back in the car, I checked my phone. Still no signal. But there was one new photo in my gallery. I didn't take it. It was of me. Sleeping. In the cabin. From inside the room. I should be driven straight home. Should be thrown the phone out the window and never looked back. But something about that photo, me, asleep, taken from inside the room, it got under my skin. It felt like a warning, or an invitation. Either way, I needed answers. So, like an idiot in every horror story, I drove back to the cabin. I arrived just before sunset. The desert sky was burning orange, shadows stretching long across the sand. The cabin looked the same. Still. Silent. Empty. I walked inside, heart pounding, half expecting something to leap out of the shadows. But it was calm. Too calm. The air smelled dry and old, like dust and wood rot. I checked every room. Closets. Cabinets. Crawl space. Nothing. But I couldn't shake the feeling I wasn't alone. I set my phone up to record, pointed it at the kitchen window, the one that always got knocked on, and waited. I didn't turn the lights on. Just sat in the dark, knife in hand, back to the wall. Time crawled. 11 o'clock. Nothing. Midnight. Tap. 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 Right on cue. I jumped, heart hammering. I forced myself to stay still. 10 seconds later, the back door. Tap. 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 Then the bedroom. Then the front porch. Then, silence. I held my breath. And then, softly, so softly I thought I imagined it, I heard it, a voice. Right outside the wall. A whisper, thin and scraping like wind through dead leaves. "Let me in." My blood turned to ice. I didn't move. Couldn't. Every instinct screamed to run, but my body had locked up. The air felt thick. Pressurized. Like something was right on the other side of the wall, inches away. Then, the whisper came again. Closer. Inside. "Let me in." I snapped. I turned on the lights. Nothing there. But the room was cold. Freezing. My breath fogged in front of me. The window. I turned slowly toward it. And saw it. A face. Pressed to the glass. Pale. Eyeless. Just skin stretched over bone, with a grin that didn't belong on anything human. Its hand long, withered fingers tapped gently on the pane. Tap. 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 I screamed. Grabbed the camera and bolted out the door, didn't stop until I reached the car. I drove until sunrise. Didn't look back. I never went back. Didn't he report it? Who would believe me? But here's the worst part. When I got home, I checked the footage. The camera caught it. The knocks. The whisper. And that face in the window, grinning right at the lens. And on the last frame just before the battery died, a single word was scratched into the glass, backwards, from the outside.